GC has come and gone. We've done our recap. We've seen the decks. Lots of other people have come out with stuff talking about the top finish of the Galactic Championship event, but that's all finished. So we don't care. It's in the past. Object permanence means it never existed in the first place. However, something that did happen at the Galactic Championship was our first unveiling of cards from set 6 of Star Wars Unlimited Secrets of Power. This is a set that's designed all around the politics style of gameplay for Star Wars Unlimited. We're still going to see a lot of things that are matched into units and other different types of stuff, so we're not going to see a completely different game being played, unlike Senate and pod racing from the old Decipher card game, which have been seen as very massive mistakes in terms of design. But here, it seems that the designers have been able to do some cool stuff with the way politicians work in Star Wars Unlimited, official spies, all that other stuff. People who aren't directly involved with combat like we see in Star Wars Unlimited with Jedi and ships and lightsabers and blasters and troopers and all this other stuff. So I've rambled a lot. Today, we're going to take our first look at the previews showcased to us from the Galactic Championship for Set 6, Secrets of Power. HARK! Without any further ado, let's get kicking. We're going to start off with our first leader from the first Spotlight deck, featuring these characters in Secrets of Power. Our two Spotlight decks are Chancellor Palpatine and Padme Amadala. So let's get started with Chancellor Palpatine. He is our first Vigilance Villainy leader, special rarity number 1 out of 264 in SEC. That's a great acronym there. Chancellor Palpatine, How Liberty Dies, is a Republic official. Action, 1 resource and exhaust this leader. Search the top 5 cards of your deck for a card with plot, reveal it, and then draw it. And then as an epic action, if you control 7 or more resources, you can flip him into a 6/8. And when deployed, the next card you play using plot this phase costs 3 less. So the front side wants you to get your plot cards to be able to do cool things with them. And then the flip side is using your plot cards that are plotting in the different areas of what they are. What the heck is plot? Well, it's fun that you asked, because next we have Cad Bane Impressed Now. This is a 5-cost Vigilance Villainy ground unit. 4 power, 5 health, Underworld Bounty Hunter. Love seeing blue bounty hunters. When played, you may defeat a unit with 2 or less remaining HP, so it has a nice little defeat effect. And then it has the keyword, official full keyword, plot. When you deploy a leader, you may play this card from your resources, paying its cost. Replace it with the top card of your deck. So this is kind of different smuggle. But we do have this Cad Bane here, which when it comes into play, defeats a unit with 2 or less remaining HP. So you can clear out some tokens, you can clear out something that's got a bunch of damage on it. Lots of different things. So ideally, Palpatine is fishing your plot cards that have those on there so you can set them in your resource row and then play them on the flip. And then Chancellor Palpatine's, when deployed, makes the next card you play with plot when deployed 3 less. So this Cad Bane would go from a 5 to a 3. Speculation right now, I don't know if anybody else has gone over this. It does not seem like there's a limitation to the amount of cards that you can deploy or you can play from your resource row with plots. So if you do have a couple that line up with your 7 resource flip, especially since Palpatine reduces the cost of your first one, I believe as it stands right now, you could play more than 1 plot card. You would just do them in a row, because it just says when you deploy a leader. It doesn't say once per turn, doesn't say as the epic action or anything like that. It just says when you deploy a leader. Now, obviously in Twin Suns, you can do this twice, which would potentially be 2 if you were limited to 1 per leader flip. But because there's nothing anywhere that on plot that says once per flip or whatever, I think much like you would play a U-Wing reinforcement, you could line up multiple different cards to be able to do different things. Next, we have Armor of Fortune. This is a 2-cost Vigilance upgrade. It just has plot. 0 power, 3 health, item armor. This is number 70 out of 264, a common in SEC. Cad Bane was a special rarity, so from specifically the Spotlight decks, this is something that you can give your leader 3 extra health fairly easily. You can throw your Cad Bane down for 2 and then Armor of Fortune for 2 more. That's 4 resources you've spent. Lots of different things that are available with this here. Then we have Jar Jar Binks, Misa Propose, 2-cost command ground unit, 2 power, 1 health, Naboo, Republic, Gungan, and official. This is the official set, folks. You're going to see a lot of officials. When played, you may give another friendly unit +2/+2 for this phase, and he also has plot. This is number 111 out of 264, an uncommon in SEC. Mid-game, you can play one of these Jar Jar Binks just regularly to be able to give one of your friendly units +2/+2, and then you have a 2/1 body, which you can do other things with, or you can just stick these in your resource row, and then when it's time to flip your leader, boom, Jar Jar Binks comes out and gives you one of your things +2/+2. Theoretically, that could be your leader, which would be very handy. And then our last plot card here doesn't necessarily have plot itself, but it does something fun for plot. We have When Has Become Now. This is a 1-cost villainy event trick. Play a card with plot from your resources, paying its cost. Put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So villainy has the ability to play multiple plots per game outside of just the deployment of your leader. So that could be a pretty fun way of doing stuff. Now, obviously plot is restricted to specifically plotting with your leader flip, unlike Smuggle, which is just whenever. But When Has Become Now basically gives your plot cards a 1 additional cost, much like Timely Intervention or Chien Flurry for ambushing things. You get to play that plot card and then do other things that's associated with that. So that's a pretty fun way of being able to add some stuff in there. This is card number 245 out of 264, an uncommon in SEC. And then the last card from this side that we're going to showcase is, of course, the big meme card, I Am the Senate. This is a 6-cost command villainy law event. Create 5 spy tokens. This is number 92 out of 264, a special rarity, so in the Spotlight deck out of SEC. Spy tokens are going to be pretty important. It's one of the token types that comes into this set. What does a spy token do? Well, a spy token is a 0/2 with raid 2. So effectively, on attack, it's a 2/2, and it is an official. So it does extra things with official stuff. You get 5 of these when you play I Am the Senate for 6 resources. There you go. That's the Palpatine side. What about the stuff that's associated with Padme Amadala? We have here Padme Amadala. What do you have to hide? She is our cunning heroism leader. Looks like it's number 16 out of 264. She has Naboo, Republic, and official traits. When you reveal or discard 1 or more cards from your hand, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal a damage to a unit. As an epic action on 6 resources, she can flip into a 3/8, which has the same effect as the front. When you reveal or discard one or more cards from your hand, you may deal 1 damage to a unit, except you don't exhaust her in this, so you can do it multiple times. This is a very Quinlan Voss based strategy, but instead of playing a unit that matches the cost of one of your opponent's unit and dealing a damage to that, or Cad Bane's playing an Underworld, but your opponent gets to choose the damage, you reveal or discard a card from your hand, and then you're able to deal that 1 damage, which can add on to other things. So initially, Tarkin Town might be a pretty good match for Padme Amadala, especially if you can discard or reveal more cards from your hand. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. And then as a 6-cost 3/8, she'll stick around a little bit. 8 health is a little bit more difficult to get rid of. 3 power isn't a lot to write home about, but it's better than 2 at a 6 cost, or some of the other things that we've seen for 6 flip leaders. Moving on, we have Furtive Handmaiden, a 1-cost cunning heroism ground unit. 2 power, 2 health, Naboo traits. On attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, draw a card. This is a special rarity card, number 197 out of 264 in SEC. Obviously, this is one of the combos that you're going to be using with the Padme Amadala, because on attack, you discard a card with the Handmaiden, but you draw a card, so you're not going negative, and you're also able to trigger this ability to be able to deal a damage to a unit, which is quite good. Next up, we have Anakin Skywalker, Secret Husband, 3-cost cunning heroism ground unit, 3 power, 4 health, Force Jedi Republic traits. Hidden, so we are seeing Hidden as a kind of carry forward mechanic. Proved wrong almost immediately right off the bat, but that's okay. If they do more with this, with more mechanics out of other sets, that would be incredible. Hidden does not need to be the only evergreen mechanic we see moving forward. Can't be attacked the phase it was played, and then while you control Padme as a leader or a unit, this unit gains raid 2. It is specifically Padme Amadala, so we do have the leader here that does work with that. I'm sure we'll have a unit that's Padme Amadala. I think we have at least one from TWI. I can't remember if the leader from that set is also called Padme Amadala. Regardless, you get raid 2. So Anakin Skywalker technically is a 3-cost 5/4 on attack, which is pretty good. 3/4 is good stats for a 3-cost unit. We have a lot of things in yellow specifically that have those stats. We have the Falcon. There's a Heroism Falcon that also has that. Vanessa Rowe, Ezra Bridger. Lots of good stuff that have 3/4 there. This is going to be a very good card. This is a special rarity 201 out of 264 in SEC. So we've seen stuff that allows us to discard. What does reveal mean? How do you reveal cards? Well, we have Captain Typho, all necessary precautions. This is a 4-cost command heroism ground unit, 4 power, 5 health, Naboo, Republic, and Trooper trait, Sentinel keyword. When this unit is attacked, you may disclose heroism command. If you do, heal 1 damage from your base. What does Disclose mean? Well, I think Cyril Karn is actually going to give us that information. Where is he?
Where is he?
2 cost, aggression, villainy, ground unit, 2 power, 3 health, official trait. On attack, you may disclose 2 aggression and 1 villainy. Reveal cards from your hand with these aspect icons among them. If you do, choose a unit. Deal 2 damage to that unit unless its controller discards a card from their hand. Cyril is a rare, number 133 out of 264 in SEC, and Captain Typho is a starter special rarity card, number 98 out of 264. So with Captain Typho, you just need to reveal one or more cards that has command heroism on it to be able to heal that damage from the base, and then you get to trigger Padme Amadala. And then Cyril Karn, there's likely going to be disclosed strategies for the other side with villainy, because you're not going to be mixing Cyril with Padme. But Cyril just needs to show 2 cards that have aggression, villainy amongst the 2 of them. I believe you can over disclose, but you don't get any benefit to that. But it means that you don't need to have exactly the amount of icons to show. You just need to show those among the icons that exist. You'll see we've got a lot of politics stuff, but Cyril Karn, our little spy boy here, who's not a spy, he's just an official, is going to be part of the set, which means we're going to have a lot of season 1 Andor representation. We had a little bit of it in last set with Luthen Rail, but moving forward, there should be a lot more in this set. There's a lot of cool art assets that came up with this, the article that came out with this, which I'll link in the description below, and then some of the stuff we saw at the GC. Between the 2, I honestly think Padme is going to be the better leader, specifically because she has something that deals more things across the scope of the game. And if you can just keep discarding to draw cards with Furtive Handmaiden, you can do you can use that J-type Nubian Starfighter that drew you a card and then discards a card. There's the Senator from set 3 that does the same thing. That allows you to draw a card, and when it dies, it discards. You still get some benefit from discarding cards. And if your opponent forces you to discard a card, Padme Amadala is a great counter to that, because sure, I'll chuck a card, I might lose it, but you're going to take a damage to one of your units unless I've already activated that ability on the leader side. But if the leader unit side's out, you get to do it every single time. I did speculate last time that Qui-Gon Jinn was going to be a better leader than Darth Maul. I don't really think there is one of those 2 that's considered the better leader to run, but I do think this Padme Amadala is gonna be one of the leaders that does come out to do some good stuff, because it is an efficient leader. It does multiple things for specific stuff, and if you stack up those abilities to reveal and discard, you're gonna have a lot of stuff. So it does look like right off the bat, our big mechanics are going to be plot and disclose. So we'll see how those balance out in terms of constructed and maybe even fun things like Twin Suns, draft, which will be super important, and then sealed as well. Moving on quickly, we do have that article, that Secrets of Power article, that's giving us some extra art pieces. So we do have the leader arts here that's in that double spotlight leader thing that we've seen in previous sets with other characters. We have the Chancellor Palpatine thing here. We have these extra cards that were showcased in there. We have the Padme, we have these cards that were showcased, including the 3PO, so on and so forth. But then we have this cool art here, which this is what's considered the key art of the set. This is not an expectation of art we will see on cards, but it is pretty cool nonetheless. Jabba the Hutt makes a lot of sense for this set. We've got the speeder from episode 2. I think they're going to actually try to put a lot of episode 2 stuff in this, in terms of the senatorial stuff that we've seen. The speeder chase is pretty cool. We've got the 3PO. We've got Cassian himself. Mon Mothma. Actually super excited to see what Mon Mothma is going to do in this game outside of the searching for rebels thing, because in my opinion she's one of the best characters in the entirety of Andor. The show should have been called Mothma. I'm kidding. I'm half kidding. But then we have also the Galactic Senate here, and then that's it. But there were other pieces of art that were showcased that I'm going to try to find here. I wasn't able to find specifically what I had seen. There weren't enough images taken from the Galactic Championship, and I wasn't equipped to be able to do stuff like that. But we do have the Gamegenic official accessories here, which I did get to see some of this in person. We have the Chancellor Palpatine art here. We have the Cassian Andor part here at the Data Vault on Scarif. We have the Senate art. We have this art back here on this mat. I don't need any more mats. I really don't. However, I'm going to buy this mat that's in the back here, because this is the red and gold squadrons flying out to the Death Star from Yavin 4, and that is no joke incredible. We also have sleeves, Andor, Padme, Chancellor Palpatine, and then Dedra, Miro we have here. You can't really see it very well there, but there was another image that did pop up. We have the soft crates. There are actually 3 more cards that were revealed at a secret panel at the Galactic Championship. We're going to go over these very quickly. Can't give you the exacts because it's obviously not the best picture, but we're working with what we had, working with what they had. We have Major Partagaz, Season 1 standout, Season 2 standout for Andor. 2 cost, command villainy ground units. 0 power, 6 health. That's incredible. Imperial official with overwhelm. And then when another friendly official unit attacks, this unit gets +2/+2 for the phase. That's got to say +2/+2. So if you can attack with multiple officials, Partagaz ends up being an absolute monster, and that overwhelm can be really handy. Next, we have Cadel Connix, which is a 3-cost aggression heroism ground unit, 3 power, 2 health, resistance trait. When played, you may defeat all non-unique upgrades on a unit, and then she also has plot, which is a great way to use her early game to knock out some experience tokens. Let's say your opponent's got a Gunji loaded up with experience tokens, maybe even a shield or 2, and then late game if something's got a bunch of experience tokens, shields, whatever on it, you can knock them all out with Connix here, which is pretty great. And then we have Marva Andor, 3-cost heroism ground units. Looks like 3 power, 4 health, rebel. When defeated, give an experience token to each rebel unit. So likely a brand new staple unit for rebels. I would even say potentially this could replace Metal Ceremony, even though the cost and opportunity cost aren't equal. Having a 3-cost 3/4 on the board that can still push in damage with the rebel strategies. And then if you slam it into something to kill it, you can give your experience tokens to your other rebels, which can help make them more survivable and keep them out of range of defeat longer, unless your opponent goes, cool, board wipe, which, you know, those do exist. So there you have it. That's all the currently available information for Secrets of Power. Lots of fun stuff that was showcased to us at the Galactic Championship. I know personally that I'm going to reduce significantly the amount of product that I'll be purchasing for Secrets of Power. Still going to be getting a box to be able to have my little showcase up here of stuff. I will probably buy the Padme Spotlight deck because I think that's going to be pretty fun to be able to play unless something gets shown for Palpatine that absolutely blows everything else out of the water. No carb stuff. You know, I'm trying to limit the amount of things. I'm going to be hunting down a lot of singles because what ends up happening is that I get a lot of cards that I just don't need, and that's not fun. We want to make sure we have fun when we're playing some of these games. I have a whole wooden MDF box back here with all kinds of extra cards that I'm never going to see play, and while I was at the Galactic Championship, I sold out of almost all of my staples of high-end cards from sets 1 through 3 because they're going to be rotating out anyway, minus saving a copy of each card that would be necessary for things like Twin Suns, because honestly I don't really see the Eternal format sticking around anywhere unless people really hammer in on Trilogy, or, and this one's important, or the casual market goes, hey, Trilogy's our format, we're going to do this so it allows us to play all of our cards, and Trilogy becomes the Commander format that the devs really want things like Twin Suns to be. So we'll have to see how that works out, how the community evolves. Set 7 is going to be a huge turning point in the game, and we're going to have to see how the players adapt to having rotated decks, how the meta shifts out, how the competitive players shape up when it comes to these things. But that's 8 months down the line. In 4 months, we have Secrets of Power coming out in November, so look forward to that. Hopefully we'll get some cool previews throughout the things. Hopefully I can get a preview to showcase to you all. We'll find that out in the future here. But that's it. That's all that I have. Thank you very much for joining me, everybody. Like this video. Comment down below what your favorite preview you've seen so far is, what you think of Palpatine and Padme as leaders and the strategies they present, what you think of Plot and Disclose as mechanics that are coming to Star Wars Unlimited and Set 6 Secrets of Power. Subscribe to the Star Wars Unlimited channel for all of your Star Wars Unlimited needs. I'm RybackStun. You've been my amazing audience. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you in the stars.